Welcome to the Connection America Podcasting plus Networking online business event powered by the American Business Podcast. We organize the event monthly and we network while we are podcasting on the American Business Podcast. As you know, the American Business Podcast now has more than 150,000 YouTube subscribers. As a business community, we are growing, and Connection America Business Alliance Podcasting Plus Networking event is a monthly event that we organize to keep creating and building our business community. Okay, great. Well, before further ado, I'll invite our attendees today and we'll get our conversation started. All right, perfect. So let's get started. Okay, perfect. Well, good morning. Welcome to the Connection America Podcasting Plus Networking online event, online business event. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Okay, wait, Gary, thank you. Well, let's start our conversation in a minute. First of all, this event is podcasting plus networking. So what it means is you'll be able to talk to each other and learn more about your business, and also you'll be in front of thousands of YouTube subscribers of the American Business Podcast. We just passed 150,000 YouTube subscribers, and we are growing very fast. And I'm sure our subscribers, our followers, they'll be happy to hear from you and learn about your businesses. As a start, why don't we do this? Let's start with brief introductions. Would you please introduce yourself and your business? Gary, shall we start with you?
Sure. Gary Kane. I work for Corporate Fuel. Corporate Fuel is a boutique investment bank in New York City. We focus on businesses between 10 and 100 million in revenue. We work on about 25 projects a year. Of that 25, 75% of them is M&A, and then 75% of that is sell-side M&A. So the majority of what we do are helping business owners exit their business for retirement, for chips off the table, for whatever it may be. And what makes us a little bit unique is we have a two-phase approach. We try to think more holistically, and we try not to rush someone to market like other investment banks. Phase one is three legs: valuation, education. Leg two is a transaction readiness. Are they ready to transact? And leg three is a mental readiness. Are they mentally ready to transact from a tax perspective, from a wealth perspective? And then phase two is your traditional market-based sale. As far as industries go, of that 25 projects, about 25% is food and beverage at any given time, and then another 25% is industrials at any given time, and the balance is business services, environmental services, IT, healthcare, more of a generalist scenario. We are a national firm. Most of our clients, I would say maybe 70%, are here in the New York tri-state area, but we do have clients around the country.
Sounds great. Well, how about you, Kevin? Introductions for yourself, your organization.
Yeah, so I'm the president and founder of Harbor Sales Management, and I provide fractional sales leadership to small companies that are trying to grow to the size that Gary is helping to leave the business world with the cash out. And so companies that I work with, so I provide senior sales leadership for companies that really can't afford it, but can't afford it on a fractional basis. So we're talking primarily companies that are based here on Long Island, companies that are between 2 and 15 million in sales. And that's a level where they really do need to have serious professional attention paid to their sales, but really can't support even a 250,000 OTE sales manager, which is what they deserve, but they really can't have that. So typically you have the owner who's managing the sales because the owner created the company and she kind of built the company herself, and now she's grown to the point where she may even have a couple of salespeople, but there's no professional systems in place. So I provide on a fractional basis professional systems for their sales operation to function properly, to work as smoothly as possible, and to do it at a level that they can afford. Once that company gets to 15 million in sales, let's say. Now you can actually afford to have a full-time person that works for you. But in the meantime, I'm a helper. And typically my most common role is to be a helper to the owner who continues to oversee sales, as it were, but really doesn't have to devote 50% of his or her time to growing a business when they certainly have other things to do in terms of running a business. Because some of those projects that they've been putting off, I can handle those. Implementing CRM that people use and that's useful, creating a marriage between marketing and sales. The kinds of projects that are difficult to do when you're also trying to grow and manage a business.
Thank you very much for this. Well, okay.
I'm on Long Island as well. Is that just
Right on.
coincidental or on purpose?
I don't know. I definitely recognize the weather.
There you go. I'm in
Gary, what's up? No, you are where?
Northport today.
All right. Well, I'm not. I'm pretty far from that. I'm in Asharoken,
Yeah,
which is in Northport. I know.
8 minutes from us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice here, isn't it?
It's really funny.
That's awesome. A couple of salespeople, but there's no professional systems in place. So I provide on a fractional basis professional systems for their sales operation to function properly, to work as smoothly as possible, and to do it at a level that they can afford. Once that company gets to 15 million in sales, let's say, now you can actually afford to have a full-time person that works for you. But in the meantime, I'm a helper. And typically my most common role is to be a helper to the owner who continues to
We are a national firm. Most of our clients, I would say maybe 70%, are here in the New York tri-state area.
that his or her time to grow in a business when they certainly have other things to do in terms of running a business. Because some of those projects that they've been putting off, I can handle those. Implementing CRM that people use and that's useful, creating a marriage between marketing and sales. The kinds of projects that are difficult to do when you're also trying to grow and manage a business.
Thank you very much for this. Well, okay.
I'm on Long Island as well. Is that just
Right on.
coincidental or on purpose?
I don't know. I definitely recognize the weather.
There you go. I'm in
Gary, what's up? No, you are where?
Northport today.
All right. Well, I'm not. I'm pretty far from that. I'm in Asharoken,
Yeah,
which is in Northport. I know.
8 minutes from us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice here, isn't it?
It's really funny.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Longwood, actually, is where I am.
Fantastic, man. That's great. That's great. Well, business networking and podcasting, right, Kev? So
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So
Gary.
this conversation is great. Yeah, I love it. I
Yeah.
welcome it. And
Yeah.
it's such a coincidence.
So I mean, a lot of the companies that I don't want to jump into this, but primarily what I'm doing, I'm working with companies that are growing and that have grown to the point where they need some help. I have had some projects where there's companies that they're in the last year or two, and what they want to do is they want to use sales and profitability in those those last couple of years so that the business has greater valuation. And so there may be some opportunities for us, Kev, or to me and Gary to get together and see if there can be some stuff that we might do together. But
Yeah, this is really good. I like it. Okay, yeah, let's keep it conversational and interactive. I think this is a great interaction, and that's actually exactly why we Podcasting Plus networking event. So we have these conversations. We know more about our businesses and also find ways to partner up and create synergies. So that's a great opportunity. Okay, so let's talk about what makes your company organization different in a way that how you think your organization is differentiated in the marketplace. That if you like to expand a little bit, you both talk about a little bit from your point of view. We can expand on it in terms of your differentiation points in the marketplace, if that's okay. Okay, so Gary, shall we talk about this with you first?
Yeah, sure. So I think what makes us unique, and I mentioned it initially, but I'll say it again, is our two-phased approach. So traditional investment bankers want to rush you to market as quickly as they can so they can get paid. We don't think of it that way. We really want to think about our client holistically, sometimes at the detriment to us, actually. But like I said, in that phase one, We want to present what we think the business is worth versus expectations, which sometimes is a very tricky and slippery slope to go on. Then we also want to educate our client. Many of our clients have never done this before. So, what does a structure maybe look like? What do terms mean? Make sure they really understand these items before we get to a letter of intent or moving towards closing. And so that's the first leg. That second leg is transaction ready, especially the smaller companies. Are they transaction ready? As you know, due diligence is a significant deep dive into your business, especially if it's a financial buyer. Are they ready? Do we want to, or the goal here is to mitigate risk, is to try to identify where risks might be and try to mitigate them now so they don't pop up in due diligence. So, do we need a quality of earnings? Do we need a legal review? Do we need an HR review? Part-time CFO, a sales lead? Who knows? But the goal really is to think about mitigating risk upfront. And then that third leg, as I had mentioned, is do we want to implement tax strategies? Because now is the time to do it. Do we want to think about trust and estate? Because again, not when you get a letter of intent, you don't have the ability to play with valuation or have the best scenario for your tax point of view, maybe not enough time, but we want to do that now. And if we're on the same page with that holistically, then we move forward. I think what also makes us unique about it is that we will work with 10, 20, $30 million businesses, whereas a traditional investment banker wouldn't get out of bed for that. We have no problem in doing that. We'll do it all day long and every day. Usually investment bankers don't go down to that size. They don't want to be bothered. We have no problem doing that. Been in business 20 years. I've been with the company 5 years, but I've been doing M&A for 18 years. I also was a research analyst for Wall Street mutual fund and hedge funds. So I've got a very deep financial background. Although at the end of the day, it's a sales game. So yes, financial is very important, but you also have to position, you have to market, you have to think through how buyers look at it. And I think the other thing that makes us unique is we're honest, we're transparent. If we're going up against another firm and they say, oh, we think we can get you 9 times, and we think we can get you, and we think it's 4, we'd rather lose than set expectations incorrectly. We're honest, we're transparent. We tell it like it is, and we handhold where needed and where necessary all the way throughout the process.
I think this is really great, and what you do is very important. It is because we have a lot of organizations listening to watch us in the American Business Podcast and for the Connection America Podcast Plus networking event. And many of them are small and mid-sized organizations, and some of them are really retiring. So the boomers are retiring, the new generation is coming up. So I also see it myself, experiencing myself, that I can see that generations change nowadays. Businesses are changing hand, and also it's also the market is changing in that sense.
Yeah.
So
I would suggest also we started doing a lot of work in metals fabrication just along that line. Yes, there are people retiring, and yes, there are people who don't want the next generation, et cetera. Yes, that's a big part of our business. But the other part of our business is, coincidentally, in the metals fabrication business, there were 100 transactions in the last 3 years. And basically what's happening in there is, yes, people are retiring, but if you're not investing in automation, if you're not innovating, if you can't find labor, your competitors are consolidating. Your competitors are consolidating horizontally and vertically. Distributors are buying fabricators. Fabricators are moving to distributors. So you're becoming at a competitive disadvantage as well. So you may not want to retire, but you may not be able to afford to compete either. So yes, it's retirement, but yes, it's are you able to compete?
Okay, yeah, this is a great point. So you just mentioned metal fabrication. So is it tied to what type of industries? You will say it's like aerospace or defense or automotive? Okay.
Infrastructure, all different types of tubing, steel, aluminum, stainless, tubing, welding, framing. It cuts across HVAC, home, aerospace, defense. It cuts across many, many different industries because it's the guts of many industries.
Absolutely, yes, yes. I also seen it myself as well. So my background is actually business software. So we do work with all manufacturers, and I've seen the importance of what you just mentioned in terms of automation and catching up with the times to be more competitive, because times are changing. So I think what you
you have
just
to,
mentioned.
and you can't find labor anyway. So if you can't find labor and you can't automate, you can't grow, and then you shrink and you die basically.
Yeah, this is a great conversation. I appreciate it. Well, I have more questions for you, Gary, but coming up. It is coming up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Kevin, how about you? So what makes your organization different, and how are you differentiating your services in the marketplace? If you can share some insights with
Sure.
us.
There's two main things that I do for a business. Number one is I help them set up systems that help them to run their sales more professionally than they're currently doing or likely currently doing. The other side of it is I'm a manager too. I have over 30 years of senior sales experience, sales management experience. So I've worked with sales teams that are large and small. I'm working with teams that are small in this case, and we're talking, 2, 3 people. Typically the owner's leading the sales, or there may be a working sales manager at the level of the company that's 5 million in sales. They're not going to have a dedicated sales manager, a senior sales manager. They're going to have like a good sales rep who carries some accounts, and therefore may not have the breadth of experience that someone that has years in the business might have. And so, in addition to setting up the systems, I also will work with the teams. And here I want to talk a little bit about the difference between training and coaching, because people that are in sales development, typically, I'd like to think that they're two different things. And in my mind, sales training is a very valuable function. It's not what I do. Sales training is injecting information into sales reps. It almost always is cash flow positive. You will have an increase in your sales if you do training for your staff. They get pumped up, they learn some good techniques, and you'll see a lift. And then you'll see that it kind of peters out. And then, so one way that you might do it is to keep doing training every year, and we're going to have a predictable and cash flow positive injection, experience from having that person or that company come in. So that's training. Coaching, instead of injecting information, pushing information into people, it's more getting more out of people and helping individual sales reps in one-on-one sessions every week think about the calls that they're going to have that week, and to basically to think that to become better salespeople, and to become better salespeople by let's, for the sake of this, the device I'll use is there's an A salesperson, a B salesperson, C salespeople. A salespeople are superstars. They're driven. You might be lucky to get one of these shooting stars out of college or early in their career, and they just understand how to get to yes with the customer. They have empathy. They have business intelligence. And typically when you get one of these people, again, they're probably going to get, if you're on Long Island and you have annual sales of $4 million, Google is going to hire that person. Amazon's going to hire that person away from you. It's going to happen in 6 to 18 months. So be happy when you have them, because they're fantastic, right? The B salesperson is organized. The B salesperson understands the things that they need to do. But what they don't do typically is think on their feet as well as that A salesperson does. They don't think through the sale before the sale happens. They don't think through the call. So I'll work with the B salesperson to get them to think more like an A salesperson. And that means in a one-on-one meeting, it's very simple and very tactical. What do you have coming up this week? 3 or 4 calls that are important to you for this week. Okay, let's talk about those. What's happening on this call? Where are you in the sales process? What's that person likely to? What's going to happen here? What are they likely to say? What are you going to hear? Because in any sales funnel, however you want to look at a journey, there's like 50 different objections that a typical salesperson might hear. There's just so many different idiosyncratic pieces of our business, right? But at a certain call at a certain time, they're going to hear 4 or 5 things. It's not like anything can happen day. It's like on this call, this is like, we did discovery. I did an initial presentation. You asked for a proposal. I came back with a proposal. Now I'm coming back to talk to you about this proposal, which we had agreed on. And so there's maybe 4, 5, 6 things that can happen on that call. So I'll actually role play with the rep through what that call is going to be like, so that when the rep is in front of the client, when the words are coming out of her mouth, it's not the first time they've come out of her mouth. She's actually done them with the role playing with me, right? And now the superstar salesperson, they get this immediately. They like understand, and they know that I need to think like my client, like my prospect, and I need to anticipate what they're likely to do. The B salesperson may not do this. They do everything else great, but I can help them be better and think more like that person that takes the time to understand what is likely to happen. And the next step is, and the last part of our conversation together is, so what's the next step for you? Like, what's the range of what would be good as a result of this call? And that could be, I want another meeting. I want to meet with someone else in the company, or I might hear no, and that's okay too. That's actually it's the second best outcome you can get in a call, right? One is yes, that's no, and 3 is I'll think about it, right? So you want to, but what's likely to happen on this call? So what makes me unique, I think, is that personal touch. Now I work with at any given time 3 to 6 companies, right? And I'm giving them a half a day to a day a week, and I can do that, and that for me here on Long Island, that scales, and I can provide for that company a level of professional sales manager that they typically wouldn't be able to afford until we can help them grow, and maybe they get to the point where they're going to be talking to Gary about exiting their business or moving on.
Kevin, could I add to that?
Sure,
Yeah.
please.
So, well, I guess you're both Kevin. Kevin, the host. I add to that, Kevin Barry. What Kevin Barry does is extremely valuable to me, and I'll tell you why. As the business grows and does get to my level, it's very counterintuitive to owners, but the less they do, the more the business is worth. And the less sales they do and institutionalize it into the organization or push the relationships down, the more the business is worth, because then the seller can step out, and we talked about mitigating risk. You mitigate that risk. So Kevin is extremely important to clients of mine in their potential value. So I want to make note of that. The other thing that's unique about my business is actually 2 sales in 1. So I've got to sell the client on my services, but then I have to find the buyer and sell my client to the buyer. So there's actually 2 sales processes in what I do. But what I wanted to make was that what Kevin does is very important for value. If all the relationships and sales are locked up in the owner, that business is worth less than their peers.
I've always kind of sensed that, but that's never been articulated so well. So thanks for giving me another sales tool.
Yes,
to get that owner out of the business of managing the sales, right? Because if it's an ego thing too, right, Gary? It's like, yes, the owner kind of loves the fact that he is the business, right? He walks around.
It's very counterintuitive to an owner. Oh, I do everything. I'm so key. Chief bottle washer. The more you spend, the more you do, the less it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are great insights. Yes, appreciate it. Well, okay.
Hey, I'll add one more thing.
Right.
I said there's A and C salespeople. So I talked about the A's and the B's. So the C isn't like a loser. Like the D is the person that you don't have after a couple of months. The C is the person. Remember, I said the B doesn't have the anticipation of the sale, the thinking on their feet part, but they definitely have I know the things I need to do to have my act together. The C salesperson has good intentions and has potential and can be great, can be good. Actually, we want to coach the C up to a B. They don't have the systems of they don't know how to fill out the CRM. They don't really understand the importance of the CRM. They don't understand how to do proper discovery. And so those are things that I'm also talking to those folks, and they are valuable. You're going to have as many B's as C's on your staff, but what we want is your B's to seem like A's and your C's to seem like B's.
Totally. Well, also when we think about it, as to like what you just mentioned, see, actually you also keep the salespeople motivated. You keep them pretty sharp with your approach. That's also an important point. to keep
Well,
them
the C,
sharp.
if one of the
Yeah.
if one of the problems with the C is that they're not like I can't get to see anybody. Have you talked on the phone with them yet? No, I don't do that. No one does that.
Mhm.
And of course, everybody has to do that if they want to make some sales. So the
Yes.
fact that they know that they're going to have some one-on-one time with someone that what we talked about 4 accounts last week. And then first question is, what about those 4 accounts that we just talked about? Or no, it's not like that. That's introducing tension. It's like, what do you think is going to happen
Joe?
with this?
Yeah, Joe just joined us. Good morning. Good morning, Joe.
Joe's Long
Morning,
Island.
gentlemen.
also.
Sorry I'm late.
That's
It's
right.
no longer a
On
coincidence.
vacation right now, and I ended up getting caught up in conversation. Realized I was half an hour late to this meeting. So, do I understand correctly that Gary, both you and Kevin, both have your podcast now with on the American Business Podcast channel?
No, I don't do a podcast, Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
Or at least,
So yeah,
right,
so yes, this is
Gary's a
this is our
decides
yes.
to do a podcast.
Yeah. Joe just started
Right.
his podcast. Yeah, absolutely. So if you can, let's talk about Joe. What do you do? Before I invite you to the stage, Kevin. Sorry to interrupt. You were talking, and then I just interrupted. My apologies.
No,
if you'd like to finish your
no,
thought.
you sensed that I was done. The answer to that question.
Okay,
So we're good.
okay.
We can move on.
Well, okay. So why don't we do this? Joe join us, right? So let's also hear from him just to make sure we are on the same page and also catch up our audience with this conversation. So this is our podcast and plus networking event, right? So we network. And it's a special event. We podcast and network at the same time. And this is from other networking events because it's special. You can interact more. And at the same time, you are now more than 150,000 YouTube subscribers of the American Business Podcast. So that's what makes it unique. Joe, welcome to the Connection America Podcast and Plus networking event powered by the American Business Podcast.
That's awesome. Kevin, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I am Joe Beauchamp, and I just started my international leadership podcast under the channel of the American Business Podcast. So check that out. If you're a viewer or listener right now, you can look me up. And my company is Beauchamp Team Growth Solutions. We provide leadership development strategies, training, coaching for businesses to help them grow their leadership team. We know that as leaders develop and become better leaders, their results get better. So if you could even get a 10% increase in your productivity of your team, what would that really be worth for investing in developing your people? And that's really why we are here to do that. So on the International Leadership Podcast, we spread good international universal leadership principles that everybody can apply in their own lives and their own businesses to become their next better level version of themselves. And so the hope is to get good leaders from around the world in and kind of break down what they're doing that's working and let everybody kind of see them, get to know them, and learn from them to apply those principles in their own lives. So that's why we're here. And I happen to know Gary and Kevin for a couple of years now through the HIA and maybe some other networking organizations that we're part of together. As a matter of fact, actually, that's how I met Kevin DeVici, is through the HIA as well. So great networking opportunity.
Absolutely, yes. Small world, and I'm glad we are all connected and we can expand into our connection again today. And also, Joe, just know.
Are you located on
go
Long
ahead,
Island
Gary.
as well, Kevin?
Actually based in Queens. So yes, Long Island City is our headquarters. I must say, that's where we work out of. But because I'm a co-chair of HALI Manufacturing Committee, and we have clients and customers on the island, I'm on the island pretty often.
Gotcha. Well, Queens is
Yeah.
on the island, but not
Technically.
technically.
We still tell
Yes.
people in Queens and Brooklyn that they're part of the island.
Geographically, yes, right? That's true.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
it. Thank you.
For anyone who doesn't live on Long Island, it will be counterintuitive that they would think, but Long Island City is not Long Island.
That's true.
Even though it's
That's
in the
true.
name. It isn't. It
Yes,
isn't. It's definitely, yeah, it's right
you're
across
right.
the bridge from the city, from Manhattan.
You're right. Also, Joe, just for our audience to also know, can you also share your email and website just for them to know in this conversation, so they'll know from the in
Yeah,
case they like
thank
to be
you.
in touch with
So
you.
the website
Yes.
to find me would be beauchampteam.com. Beauchamp is spelled Beauchamp. In the event that you can't see it on the screen, beauchampteam.com. And you can reach me at jbeauchamp@beauchampteam.com, or as it's posted below, info@beauchampteam.com. They both come straight to me. So those would be great ways to reach out to me,
Okay, perfect.
info@beauteam.com.
Okay, sounds great. So I'll keep bringing this information on the screen for our audience to know, in case they like to be in touch with you. Also, I think, yeah. So Joe, one more view, so we can all be on the same page fundamentally. So, what makes your organization different in terms of your services that you're offering to the companies and organizations? How would you define it, that you can share with
So I
us?
say that I think the most important thing about what I do that differentiates me from a lot of the other people that do very similar things. Number one is that what I do works. It's not hocus pocus. It's not, it's not some bizarre strategies. It's real proven business strategies that have been shown to work time and time again. We get the results with our clients. The other thing is that we custom design it to the needs of the audience, right? So depending upon the size of the business, what their pain points are, we design a program for them, as well as it's flexible. So what we set up, let's say we set this up in it's February, it's the end of February right now. So let's say we set up an arrangement with a business in March, and they have certain needs that are pressing at that time, and then come April, something catastrophic happens to their business, or some kind of shift happens, or some immediate need arises. We don't just keep marching with the original plan. We shift with that company and help them to navigate through that. And so our plan with that organization is flexible. We live and implement good leadership strategies, which is flexing to the needs that are the most important things that are going on with that company right now. So step by step, we're helping that organization to improve their culture and their productivity, their mindset, their way of thinking, their day-to-day habits. Even, we'll see even upgrade in the way people speak to each other, the way conversations happen, the way people dress, the way people carry themselves. Everything upgrades in those organizations that we work with.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joe, for these. Okay, I think let's continue our conversation all together, if that's okay. All right, so let's talk about AI a little bit, and then I have one more question that I'd like you to address. But this is actually a pretty popular subject in general. So when we think about AI, I'm seeing it a lot because I'm in technology myself. I see a lot of interest from small and mid-sized businesses. I talk to enterprise companies as well, and they have most of the time their internal teams figured out in their own way with their resources. Some American small and mid-sized businesses, they are really trying to catch up with the AI technology, and they are really interested in actually utilizing it for automation purposes, for digitization, and for business workflow improvements in general. So what is your take on AI? What do you think about AI on business, its impact? Your clients are using AI. Are you implementing AI in your own practices? If you can tell us your thoughts, that'd be great. It's going to be a pretty exciting conversation. It's because our audience, they love this. They're all business-minded professionals, of course, and that's a pretty popular subject. Gary, shall we start with you?
Yeah,
If
sure.
that's okay.
So
Thank you.
on the one hand, I'm quite nervous for my 20-year-old son and my two 18-year-old kids, because I think it is a tremendous disruptor. Not sure how it will play out, but how I use it extremely a lot in my day-to-day. It increases my productivity tenfold, I guess. I don't know the exact number, but I use it for research on intro calls. I use it for research on buyers. I use it for writing emails. I use it for marketing materials. I know they're pretty basic for what AI can do, but in my world, they are extremely productive, and my ability to do more and better, to be honest, sometimes is just off the charts. It writes better than me, to be honest. It researches better than me, and it provides what I need. So I've got a prompt set up every intro call. I've got the same prompt. I plug in the company. It gives me exactly what I need. Intro meeting, same thing. I was at a meeting on Wednesday in New Jersey, pumped it in, and exactly what I need. I know it's much more sophisticated than that. And actually, the company I saw on Wednesday is a metal manufacturing company. They are using, they've put in agents that help in the manufacturing process. They've built robots. So they've done a tremendous job with it. They're using it in marketing, whereas they make a product today, and then they try to research who else can use that same stainless steel metal product. Genius, actually, absolute genius. So what I do is pretty basic, but I've seen tremendous improvements in my day-to-day productivity in using it.
Yes. So it was, I believe, last week, but it was actually previous week. Yeah, I was at a presentation. So that's a group of professionals. They get together monthly basis, business owners mostly. So I got invited to that meeting, and they asked me to make a presentation, informative presentation about AI and AI practices. So yeah, I had a chance to talk to a couple of manufacturers in that group, property, building managers, service providers, food and beverage companies. I talked to them. So I mean, this is definitely a popular subject. I'm glad that you talk to a company they already deploy, and deployment of AI is actually easier than before. I mean, this technology used to be Fortune 500 technology, really. Like, it was really expensive before and more complex. Now it's accessible, affordable. It's really simplified in a way that business can learn pretty quickly, implement very quickly. So that's really in favor of businesses in general. And
to add to that, just using this one I went to see because it was very impressive. There was a lady sitting at a machine. The machine was going. So I asked the owner. I said, "Well, what does she do?" And he said, quite frankly, not much anymore. She just sits there and sort of stares at it. But what he did say is she has no problem in losing her job. He said, "Just double my company." And he can basically double the size of the company with the exact same staff. The profitability in that is off the charts. Impressive.
Yes, that's definitely a great conversation. Okay, well, Kevin, how about you? Any insights from you about? I saw you mentioned about CRM, right? So one of my expertise areas, and AI is actually pretty functional actually in CRM practices, sales and marketing. But we love to hear from you, your insights. What do you think about AI? Its impact on businesses.
Well, like Gary, I'm a user, and I have clients or prospects that are users, and like Gary, I'm like a little embarrassed at how simple the usage is, but it's a tool, and for instance, all right, the research that I can do on a prospect is so vastly better. I can genuinely understand that company so much better using that as a research tool for my own prospecting. Similarly, for my clients, and I'm still at the point where there's people that just don't understand how to use it. So I'll say, okay, type ChatGPT into your URL bar. Okay, enter. All right, who are you going to be seeing today for your first call? Okay, type this in there into the search bar. New chat. I'm calling today on a manufacturer of a consumer product that is in the third generation. They have $3 million in revenue. They do business in Suffolk County, New York. Basically, who you're going to talk to. What are the issues that they're facing this year? Who are the competitors? Okay, now hit enter, and up comes the most perfectly researched idea to give them genuine empathy, understanding. So that they're not wasting their time on that first discovery call with so tell me about your business. It's like, because for a lot of those people, they're like, don't you have a computer? Why don't you tell me how your business can help my business? So as a research tool, I think it's invaluable for me and also for clients. I also think that, again, tactically, it's fantastic for CRM just in the processing that you can do with it. The optical character recognition, OCR, right? That's, I take notes on my pad. and I on well, I write it on here. I spit it out to my CRM, and I'm sorry, through AI, and it will interpret those notes and put them into CRM in a way that's useful for the people that are going to be looking at that down the road. So it helps with recording, and let's say a discovery call. You can record discovery calls. This is when a lot of the most important interchange of information takes place. So if you're using if you're doing what we're doing, if you're using Zoom, use it to analyze the discovery call. If you're doing a Zoom call, or if you're in the room, do you mind if I record this? Because frankly, it's going to help me understand how I can help you better. And then you hit record on your phone. And all of those things are simple, but extremely powerful tools that can help us, serve clients better, work more efficiently, work faster.
Yes, that's true. That's true. An AI employee can be your 24 hours employee for sales and marketing. Can work for you really without a break.
Hey, don't go. No.
Pretty cool. No, it's
Not
a
so
tool,
fast, no,
right?
don't-
It's a team
That's
member,
right.
right? So you basically just bolt it on your team, and it becomes one of them. As a matter of fact, so some organizations, they have their organization chart, right? So they have the human employees, they have AI employees, so it becomes a team member, right? Because it's actually creating synergies right there in terms of what you do. So it's very complementary, to the workforce. Absolutely. So that's where I was going. Okay, great. Well, Joe, how about you? What is your take on AI?
Yeah, so I
Yes.
gave that presentation to the committee that you co-chair with the HIA back, was it like 2 months ago now? Was it December?
Yes.
Or
Time flies.
whenever we were back there, yeah.
Yes.
But everybody's using AI right now. I use AI. I use a really a tiny portion of AI, and I'm in the phase right now of exploring different ways to use different means. I'd like to create my own app, and I'm 100% confident that I could do it using AI tools right now. So there's lots of different things that people can do. AI automations. Most people think of AI and they think of ChatGPT. There's just so much more out there than that. Even some of the things that people use ChatGPT for, there's other platforms that are better at it. For example, Perplexity is a platform that's considered to be better than ChatGPT when it comes to doing research or any kind of real-time stuff. And other platforms are better for getting like social sentiment and things like that are more real time. So it's kind of important right now to do your research on which AI you need to use and how to use it. And the other thing is I'm going to say it's really more important now than ever to know your real information, right? To have real human intelligence, human knowledge, and human experience. Because AI, if somebody was sitting in front of me and they said, "Okay, Joe, I did some research and I came up with this as an answer, and I think it's this," right? I'd be like, "Oh yeah, so let me just double check that because this person is inexperienced. He's really not sure about his answer. I can read his body language and his facial expression, and I understand that this person's information is a little sketchy, right?" But ChatGPT is not like that at all. ChatGPT is a bold, incorrect liar. But it tells you very confidently information that it just scooped up, right? It goes out and it based upon like AI doesn't really know anything. It takes combinations of your words and it just looks out at what's out there and it just returns back information. That information can be wrong, but it's so bold. If we just take it at face value, we're gonna believe it's true. AI is a competitive software that's competing with other competitive AI programs. So it wants to make me happy using the software. So it's answering me in ways that it thinks it's going to keep me engaged. Like it's got an ulterior motive than just serving my motive. Its ulterior motive is me sticking with, let's say, ChatGPT over Perplexity, or Perplexity over Claude, or Claude over, whoever other version. So we've got to keep that in mind. And so some people say, "Oh, well, you just ask it to be honest." But what you're going to get when you ask it to be honest is you're going to get the answer that comes up from including honesty in your prompt. It doesn't mean that it's honest or more honest. It just answers the way that it thinks you want to be spoken to when you're asking for honesty, right? So it could still be giving you fake information. It's just giving you different fake information than what you asked for without the honesty prompt. So, that's what I said. It's critical right now to know the reality before you ask ChatGPT or any of these other AI platforms. And you got to go with your gut. Like, you've got to train your gut. For example, let's say you have, like, most people don't use AI. Like, the common users that we deal with, small businesses, stuff like that, are not using AI for data analysis, but AI is great for data analysis. But you have to have a gut feeling for what the data should be showing you anyway. Like, if you don't look at the data yourself and go, like, I think it should be this, like, you have to be able to verify. Like, you need the real world knowledge to be able to verify the conclusions that your AI system is spitting out, saying, because it's basically advising you on decision making based upon your data. And an experienced data analyst knows, what the data is really saying, and can determine, okay, is that valid or is it not valid, right? They know how to look into it further and get the real information. So now more than ever, it's time to use human intelligence and amplify that, supplement that with the AI. That's my take on it.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, okay. In this round, let's talk about some challenges in the market that you see, that you add with your service, with your company, and your products and services, and your expertise, if that's okay. We talked about this, I'm sure, earlier, but we can dive deeper on it as to what challenges that you are actually helping organizations solve with your services, if that's okay. And we can dive more about your company, your organizations in this. Gary, shall we start with you?
Yeah, sure. So
Thank you.
maybe just repeat the question again.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
So, what are the common challenges that you are addressing with your company services? For example,
Okay.
yes.
I thought what are my common challenges in the marketplace? Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
our-
actually, what you do is very important, right? Because you are working with different organizations and helping them really grow in a way. So please expand on it.
what my challenge is helping a business owner exit. Period. Really, that's what we do. Now, there are lots of challenges in their businesses that they might not like. Client concentration, owner risk, the price, the value, the terms. But at the end of the day, if you've got a house on the right of you that's worth 500,000 and a house on the left of you that's worth 600,000, you're not going to be worth 2 million. You might have a nicer house, which is a premium, but you're still in a peer group. So most businesses trade in a peer group. And then there's quantification, and then there's qualification as to what makes a business trade at a premium or a discount to that peer group. And it's, again, an art and a science, of course. But like this company I mentioned the other day, they would trade at a premium given their sales, their automation, their use of technology. A company that goes to Kevin Barry, that basically the owner does all the sales, that would trade at a discount. A company that has high concentration in a customer, that would trade at a discount. Things like that. And unfortunately, business owners don't understand that, potentially don't want to understand that, and think, they have the shiniest object on the block every single time. So we try to be very careful. It's very costly. It's very time consuming to go through a sale process. So if we think the business is worth 10 million and they think the business is worth 50 million, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people at the end. So we won't even go further. We close on about 80% of our transactions because we really do the work up front to make sure we're on a similar page, to make sure they're educated on terminology, what's a rollover, what's an earnout, what's not. Are they good? Are they bad? Etc. And then we make sure that we can get to close because everybody's on the same page and realistic in their expectations.
Yeah, this is really important. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we fight with, oh, my cousin Vinny, he sold his business for 15 times, and nobody really knows what that actually means per se.
Great point. Kevin, how about you from your point of view?
So, no deep thoughts on like macro issues. Although, I mean, tariffs, frankly, tariffs, working with manufacturers as I do are a significant issue right now. But it's not something I can address, but that's a common issue. A common issue that I think happens on the sales side is just working with a growing company that is successful and has become, I wouldn't call it a victim of their own success, but they become captive to their own success, that they've grown quickly and the manager is the one that's, the owner is the one that's continuing to manage the sales team. And something else that happens at the same time is not only do you see the need for having professional sales, you also are maybe starting to nurture something like a marketing department. And I think it's really important for companies to integrate marketing and sales together. I had a sales job decades ago, and we had a joke, and it's not such a funny joke now because I love marketing people, but we called the marketing department was called the sales prevention department because we thought that they didn't understand the process, they didn't really understand their customers, and it was pejorative, and I'm ashamed of that part of myself. So I think that they really need to work together, and marketing is such a key part of sales that even if it's you have a client rep that really happens to work great with the customers, maybe understand social marketing, and now she's going to be kind of like the first marketing person that we've had. I've had a couple of situations like this. This is my marketing person. So having them get involved in sales early on and understand like their first job, marketing's first job is to get leads, but not just any leads, but the right leads, right? So that starts with defining, an ICP, an ideal client or customer profile. And then you want to generate leads that match that profile. That happens only if sales leadership and marketing leadership, which, with the companies I'm working with is a pretty good rep who happens to be like a working sales manager and someone that's running our social media, but they're going to grow into these roles at their company. So making sure that they're talking to each other early on and so that they understand each other, and that if marketing doesn't understand the ideal client profile, that's sales' responsibility. And so begin to, get that involved and then it's sales job calling on these folks, like do the right thing, like get back to the leads that you got quickly so that marketing has the best opportunity to have their leads be successful. And then also share that what you're hearing, what are common objections that I, the salesperson, am hearing or that my staff is hearing. What are snags that we get, like systemic snags that we're getting to developing proposals, and being able to inform marketing what is actually working or not. And not only does it make the process more valuable, I think it builds a teamwork that is not common in a lot of companies. It's like marketing has their own thing and they're like, eggheads, ivory tower. Sales is another group that's like these street smart, tough guys that make too much money and don't work hard. And I think it's much better for the two to work together. And so as a theme that I'm seeing emerging among my small group of companies that have single millions of dollars a year, but seeing $1 to $9 million in sales a year, that this is the growing pains and the opportunities that they're going through. And I think the more that we can get marketing and sales to understand that they really do power each other, and create. So marketing, by the way, comes back from the feedback that they get in sales. Now they can do a better job of honing in on the proper customer, understanding that customer, and most importantly, nurturing that customer, because the role that marketing plays at that next step, and I don't even know if I've mentioned this yet. My clients are B2B clients, 100% of them. I don't have B2C clients. I have B2B clients. That's a long sales cycle, and it's not transactional. It's relationship built, right? That when you're going to close these B2B sales, and one of the ways to do that is I make an initial presentation. We kind of hit it off well. They're not in the market right now though, but they might be in 9 months or whatever. I have to stay in touch with that person. So one of the jobs that marketing needs to have and need to understand is stay in touch with that person, and don't do it by saying, sending an email, just checking in. How many, we're business owners, right? How many of those do we get? Because we're just checking. It's so worthless and so lazy. And you have so much information, success stories among your customers. Um, Use AI to write a great article on your industry and some of the important things that are happening, and send that out as under your leadership. Provide something of value on a regular basis to those customers that you're developing. And that really isn't a sales job. It's sales job to send the communication. I think it's marketing's job to develop the content that helps you become an email that you're at least not detesting, and probably even valuing when you get it in your inbox. So, and then at the very end, of course, it's then sales comes in and they can close the business, they create the customer, and then it's marketing's job to create loyalty, right? So it one feeds into the other, and to create a loyal customer that can be a source of success stories for you, that can inform your product development, perhaps, and so the more that we can from the very beginning have marketing and sales working together, I think the more successful we can be as new and growing companies.
I'd be curious. This is my experience, but Kevin B and Joe, you may or may not have a similar one. I've met with hundreds of business owners over the years. The most successful companies that I've worked with, the owner is an A-type salesperson. Rarely is it the CFO. Rarely, no offense, Kevin D. Rarely is it an IT programmer, or it's usually an A-type salesperson, which is a pro and a con, because he's got to learn to institutionalize his A-type salespeople or her down into the organization, which is where Kevin B comes in.
You are 100% right, Gary, and which is now, and one of that it's an A-type salesperson, which is good and bad. And one of the bad is that means they don't understand that their obsession is actually holding them back in a little in ways, right? And that they need to share, and they need to maybe even step back and take a breath. But being that A-type person is what helped build the business in the very first place. But yeah, absolutely.
Sales, you have no business. Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Great point. Joe, what type of common challenges that you see in your clients that you help them solve and address?
So most business owners, at least small business owners, go into business, or entrepreneurs that start their businesses, they're good at something, right? And so we were just discussing this type A salesperson who starts their own business, and now they're the business owner, and what they get good at their product, they get good at sales, they get good at the market, they get good at different aspects of it, and they're not always focused on getting good at being a good leader. And so we find that people can generally lead probably about a dozen people. And then as their company starts to scale, now I have, 2 leaders that are underneath me, and each of them have a dozen people. And then they're going to have people underneath them, and each of those people are going to have a dozen people. And at some point in time, my lack of focus on creating good company culture, my lack of focus on developing the leaders underneath me, ends up meaning that I have a weakness in my leadership team, and I have to carry the weight of more and more people. I'm doing more and more of the decision making myself. I'm doing more and more of the problem solving myself. And I come to work every day and I'm getting more and more frustrated. And I find that it's more and more of a headache. As I've grown my team, I'm growing more of the problems. And so what I do is I help them to develop their leaders underneath them. Even from a sales perspective, like we're talking about this A-type salesperson who's a really great salesperson, and that person's the CEO, and they close a lot of business, and that's why the company has grown to the point that it is. They're not necessarily good at training their sales leaders on how to be good sales leaders and how to create a good sales team. I'll go in there and train them on good leadership strategies on how to be a good leader, to replicate yourself, your leadership skills, to make a team of good leaders. And so what ends up happening is we end up with a multiplicity of people of the same cultural value system, right? And when I talk about cultural values, is that the culture of a company is, you can just say, like, this is how we do it here, right? And hopefully that's good, but also it works in the negative. Your culture could be a negative culture. It's not taking you on your mission. It's counter mission. because how we do it here is not effective to reaching, our goals with our clients, right? But that how we do it here is the company culture, and it's based upon values. And a lot of people aren't deliberate about creating that strong company culture, or they don't know how to inculcate the next set of leaders into that culture. And that's where I come in. I can see the symptoms of what they're experiencing today, relate those to root cause problems that they could have addressed, 5 or 10 years ago, but didn't put enough focus on it then. And therefore there's weaknesses in their leadership team. And I help to fix those weaknesses in those different leaders. We strengthen the leadership team. Now everybody's rowing in the same direction at the same time, enthusiastically. So the results improve, and stress goes down at the same time, because now there's a multiple of people carrying the weight. There's a multiplicity of people making decisions using the same value system. And so they're going to make very similar decisions in the same direction as the mission for the company. So emotion level drops down. We get calmer, more peaceful people. Morale improves. Sales go up. Customer relationship goes up. Understanding goes up.
Would you like to listen to music during your work time? We are here to help. We created ABP Office Music Pod, powered by the American Business Podcast. ABP Office Music Pod is for you, the working professional. You can enjoy jazz, lo-fi, smooth jazz, classic music, and more during your work time. We keep the music positive and energetic. You can go to the YouTube channel of the American Business Podcast, or you can scan this QR code and start listening right away. There is more coming in the American Business Podcast, and this is one of them. Enjoy ABP Office Music Pod during your work time, and thank you very much for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. There are more than 440 million visitors weekly on Reddit. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable, and millions of users are going to Reddit to get the real feedback from real people. It is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on that I'd like you to consider and take advantage of. When you spend $500 on Reddit for advertising, you'll get $500 in advertising credit. True story. I am a Reddit user, and anytime I like to have feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit and I talk to Reddit communities. I get the real feedback and real review from real people and real communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising. Get the visibility for your company, for your products and services on Reddit with Reddit advertising. Reach people ready to buy your products and services with Reddit advertising. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Else by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Baker.
Anywhere apps are designed to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Anywhere apps are family of business software products. There are more than 40 products available for business process digitization and automation. Anywhere's apps are easy to use, they are standalone, and they are also ready to integrate with your ERP and accounting software systems. Today, I'd like to promote APS Anywhere, which is part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. APS Anywhere, designed for manufacturing companies. Whether you are a process manufacturing company, food and beverage, chemical, and more, or a discrete manufacturing company, automotive, aerospace, electronics, and more. APS stands for Advanced Planning and Scheduling. APS Anywhere is ready to streamline, digitize, and automate your production planning process. As you know, in manufacturing, production planning is not easy. There are always some bottlenecks and challenges. You need to put together your resources, 3M, man, machine, and material. APS Anywhere designed to streamline this process and automate it for you. It is a modern system. It runs on cloud. It also has deployment options for installation on your server or your private cloud environment. The system is scalable. It comes with unlimited number of production planning scenarios, meaning before you execute, you can see the financial implications and timing of your production planning on APS Anywhere. APS Anywhere comes with a very colorful and easy-to-use Gantt chart so that you can see your production planning on a colorful and easy-to-operate Gantt chart before you finalize your production planning purposes. The system is also integratable. It is ready to integrate your ERP system, MRP system, and other systems whenever there is a need. It is designed for manufacturing companies by manufacturing experts. It also comes with ready-made reports if you like to utilize. Furthermore, on APS Anywhere, you can also use demand forecasting function, meaning based on your past manufacturing and sales figures, the system can predict what will be your demand in the future. This will help you manage your supply chain in a more productive manner. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about APS Anywhere as well as Anywhere App software system in general. There is more. I have a direct line for you. You can send me a direct email, kevin@perconsulting.com. kevin@perconsulting.com, and I'll be happy to hear from you about Anywhere Apps, APS Anywhere, or any Anywhere Apps that is offered by Anywhere Apps by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Becker. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Otter AI. Otter is the AI note taker that builds your knowledge and powers your workflow with transcription, automated summaries, AI chat, and more. Get your AI-powered assistant for meeting notes, tasks, and more. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up today. Otter AI is the latest note taker that you can utilize, and you can set your meetings, you can take your notes, and you can also set up your follow-up actions automatically with the help of the Otter AI. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from DocuSign. If you are signing vendor contracts and customer contracts very often, just like I do on daily basis, consider DocuSign. DocuSign is the latest modern digital and electronic signature software system. Furthermore, you can manage your vendor contracts, customer contracts, NDAs, and any other commercial contracts on DocuSign digitally with no need of local installation and no need of keeping your documents on your laptop or your mobile device. Furthermore, with the latest technology of DocuSign, it has intelligent agreement management. It recognizes your repeated documents and creates contracts automatically and makes things easier for you. Do you know how many users are there for the DocuSign system? More than 1 billion users. There are many companies using DocuSign and trust DocuSign for electronic and digital signature. True story. I also use DocuSign on daily basis and it works smoothly. Highly recommended. You see the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you fill up the form to start your free trial and join the DocuSign user community. Enjoy your DocuSign experience, and I hope you sign up today. I have the QR code on the screen. Thank you very much, and enjoy the experience. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Gemini Trust. Gemini makes crypto simple. Find, trade, and buy over 70 different coins, including Bitcoin and Solana, on the best cryptocurrency platform. Gemini Trust. Start trading crypto here. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and start signing up today. Because they have a great customer service, you can reach out to them and get assistance 24/7. Scan the QR code and start trading crypto on Gemini. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Wizen. At the American Business Podcast, we always talk about continuous improvement and professional development. That is why we partner with Wizen, trust the nation's largest network for tutoring. Wizen helps you find the tutor that you need in many different subjects: chemistry, computer, foreign languages, geometry, English, music, physics, reading, SAT, science, and many more. I have the QR code on the screen that you can sign up and start searching for tutors and enjoy the learning experience and continuous improvement, as we always talk about in the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up for Wizen today. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is bringing you foreign languages. Learn from the experts, choose your plan to get started, sign up today. New Year is coming, and if your New Year resolution is learning a foreign language, Rosetta Stone is the choice for you. Rosetta Stone is offering you a long list of foreign languages: French, Italian, German, Chinese, Greek, Turkish, Polish, Portuguese, Vietnamese, and many more languages are available for you to get started today. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up for Rosetta Stone and enjoy the learning experience of foreign language. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kirk Consulting, now Cherry Beckert. Anywhere Apps are business software systems, and they are designed to digitize and automate your business processes. Today, I like to focus on contract management anywhere as part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. Contract Management Anywhere is an AI-powered vendor, customer, and legal contract management software system. It is modern, it runs on cloud, it's easy to use, and it's scalable. Because of the AI capabilities of the system, software comes with an AI chatbot that you can get your answers about any contracts that you have. Renewal dates, amounts, start dates, and other details can be learned from the system in a conversation. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code to learn more about Contract Management Anywhere, as well as Anywhere Apps in general. There is more. I have a direct email for you. You can send me a direct email about Anywhere Apps and Contract Management Anywhere, kevin@kirkconsulting.com. I'll be happy to help you and help you schedule a demo session with Team Anywhere Apps. Looking forward to hearing from you, and I hope you enjoy Anywhere Apps. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Norton, advanced tech for advanced threats. Sign up today. Norton offers you different packages to completely save and secure your data and your devices. Each Norton package comes with antivirus, malware, ransomware, and hacking protection capabilities. In addition, there is VPN, private internet connection, dark web monitoring, and parental control capabilities in each package. There is a promotion going on right now. I have the QR code on the screen. You can get up to 60% discount if you sign up right now for one of the packages. There are packages of deluxe, standard, plus, and select. Depends on the number of devices that you like to connect, as well as the features that you like to utilize when you are using Norton. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the different packages and options available for you. Scan the QR code, go to the page that you like to sign up, pick the package that you like to use, and sign up today. True story. I am also using Norton on daily basis, and I know all of my devices are secure every single day thanks to Norton. Scan the QR code on the screen and start using Norton today and save your devices and your data in a safe and secure manner with the help of Norton. Thank you very much and enjoy the experience. Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I am Kevin Deveji, your host. I'm welcoming you to episode 111. And quote of today, as you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com, and today's quote is vision without execution is hallucination. And today's number is 100 billion. The size of leadership coaching industry is estimated to be $100 billion, more than $100 billion in 2025 globally. Well, speaking of leadership, we have a great guest today, a leadership guru that I love talking to, I love learning from. Before I invite our guests to our virtual stage, I have an announcement to make. Well, last week, something really great happened for the American Business Podcast. I am happy to share with you that the American Business Podcast is now listed on IMDb database next to movies, movie stars, and now the American Business Podcast is listed on this platform. I'm very excited to share this news with you, and it's great. It is because that offers and brings us more visibility as the American Business Podcast. As a growing national business podcast, this is a great honor to be on this platform. And I have also the QR code on the screen that you can scan and you can view our page. And you can rate us. What do you think about the American Business Podcast, Voice of American Business? Tell us about it. Support us also, please, on IMDb. We truly appreciate your support. We come a long way as a business podcast, a national and international business podcast. And this business podcast is for you. We design it as informative, educational. This is unfiltered, also original. As you know, we publish and stream live as much as we can, pretty much weekly basis, very consistent. We are an independent media channel in a way, so we independently bring you informative content. Moreover, what we do here is that we facilitate the informative conversation by inviting business experts, leaders, and professionals. This is a non-political business podcast. We focus on the business, the core, the fundamentals of business in each the American Business Podcast episode. Well, great. I'm happy to share this update with you and great news. And I hope also you follow us on IMDb as well, as we just listed there as the American Business Podcast. And I know many of you follow us on YouTube, and if you haven't done so, I have the QR code right here. You can scan the QR code and it'll take you to our YouTube page, and you can sign up and follow us also on YouTube. We truly appreciate it. With you together, we are a business community, and we are happy to grow with you continuously as professionals. And there is always room for improvement, and that is why the American Business Podcast is designed and running for you. All right, great. So why don't we invite our guests to our virtual stage, and let's get the conversation started. All right, let me clean up my screen, and it's going to be looking much nicer. All right. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the podcast.
Good afternoon. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good afternoon. Pleasure is all mine. And I am one of your fans, as you know, and I'm very excited to have you today on the American Business Podcast. It's a great opportunity to learn from you and get with you. How about you? How is your week so far?
Day's going great so far. That background melody, is that going to stay on there?
Nope, it's going to go away.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Better. Yeah, it's getting a little challenging to hear you. But yeah, I'm happy to be here, Kevin. Thank you so much. You and I kind of really hit it off really well right from the start. I appreciate your demeanor, your mindset. You're obviously highly intelligent, but you're also highly personable and just a great person to hang around with and spend time with. So I'm glad I can be here on this podcast, and congratulations on getting into IMDb. That's a huge accomplishment. So
yes,
great work.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. We are honored to have you. Also, in terms of IMDb, it's a great badge of honor for us. We are really honored to be there. And we understand the importance, all the support from you, from our audience. We understand the importance of these. We have a great mission to be the voice of American business, and we'll do our best to deliver this mission, to be the voice of American business.
Nice.
Having said that, why don't we get started? Well, to me, you are a leadership guru, and the depth of knowledge that you have about leadership is really inspiring. So I had the pleasure of being in one of your presentations at Hauppauge Industrial Park, the association, and that was a great actually event. And you also have a great event coming up in January. We'll talk about it. I love our audience and listeners to learn about it. Before we get into that, let's get started with the conversation. As a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our audience and to our listeners?
Thank you. Yeah. So my name is Joe Beauchamp, and I help leaders, business leaders primarily, or nonprofit organizations or individuals develop their skills to be better leaders, be more influential, to inspire them, to equip them with proper communication skills, leadership skills, teamwork skills, emotional skills, so they can be successful in their lives. They enjoy life better. What I love the most is when my clients tell me how much better their personal lives are based upon the stuff that we're learning in business. Obviously, they achieve better results in business as well. So I've been doing this for the last 6 years, going on 7 years now. I started in the corporate world back in 1995 in management in one of the largest companies in the world, global telecom company. And and my team was all people who started the company before I was even born, which presented, some leadership challenges. I really was forced to lead people well. Like I was forced to do the right things because they didn't have to follow me based upon seniority. It was a union environment. So I was going to be gone before they were, so it was really trying to lead people through respect, through having a positive influence, through having good ideas, through actually solving problems. I couldn't have an ego because everyone you can't have an ego when people did the job before you were born. So, and I feel like I really learned some good leadership principles at that time. At some point in time, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to train other people on how to do these leadership strategies and how to have these leadership mindsets. And so I took an early retirement package from that company and I went off on my own and I held a seminar, and I had 3 people show up to my seminar and I was one of them. One of my friends was number 2. I had one person who responded to all my advertising, thousands of dollars in advertising spent. So now that was back in 2004 when I held that seminar. My seminar that I held back in January of 2025, we had about 140 people there, and we're looking to get at Live to Lead 2026, which is coming up this coming January, looking to get about 300 people there.
Well, you brought it up. Now I need to back it up. So talk about Live to Lead. All right, perfect. So I have the QR code on the screen. Well, we support Beauchamp team. Well, as I said, I'm a fan of Joe Beauchamp. He's right here. I can easily tell in front of him. And he's a leadership guru. And if you are into learning leadership, if you are interested in developing your leadership skills, that is a conference that you should attend. That's called Live to Lead conference, and it is scheduled for January 23rd, 2026. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, it'll take you to the website. You can learn more about the conference, and more importantly, you can sign up right there on the website.
Absolutely. Yes. So let me just say, Live to Lead is a brand from John Maxwell. I'm a certified leadership trainer and coach through the Maxwell Leadership Team. John Maxwell's the most prolific author on the topic of leadership. He's written over 100 books at this point. Still going very strong, very influential voice on the topic of leadership or any of the subcategories, like I said before, the communication, personal growth, teamwork, those kind of things. And so I'm bringing Live to Lead to Long Island. Live to Lead's been around for a while. It's like I said, it's a John Maxwell brand. We're going to see John Maxwell on a pre-recorded video that he made just for the Live to Lead audience. And there's going to be other speakers there, leadership trainers, coaches. And part of the day is going to be, or really part of the goal is really to inspire our audience, like to really uplift. If people are not energized, if people don't feel like they're empowered, they're not going to take action. So we want them to take the proper leadership action and do the strategies and change their mindsets. But first we're going to inspire people. We're going to uplift that energy level so that people feel motivated to go out there and actually do these strategies. But we're not going to leave them just a bunch of, energized, motivated, hyped up people. like they just came out of a Rocky movie or something like that. We're going to leave people they're going to know what to do. How do I actually apply this in my day-to-day life to make my office better, my work better, my job better, my customer experience better, my marriage better, my parenting better, right? So I want people to just upgrade. I say this, a better you is a better everything. You are the common denominator in every aspect of your life. If you upgrade you, everything gets better. And that's my goal. It's my goal every day. And that's my goal at the Live to Lead conference. And that's really why I'm here. It really, I hope you can see that I'm passionate about this. Really lights me up.
Absolutely.
Energetic about it. I love just helping people. Like, I've been through a lot of stuff. I love helping people just take their lives to the next level.
Yes, energy is, especially positive energy, is contagious. So once it gets started, then it becomes contagious and your environment becomes more positive. I think that's a great approach in that sense. And even right now with this conversation, I can sense that positive energy. So I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, let's talk about your day-to-day work. So you work with many different companies and leaders, managers, and head of organizations. So how is your day-to-day work experience? What are the exciting and challenging parts of your work on daily basis?
So it's a lot of fun working with various different leaders. I just got to say this: if you're not having fun, you're not doing something right? So work. I understand that there's definitely a part of work that's stressful and strenuous, but if you're doing the right things, you're winning. And if you're winning, I don't know about other people, but I find winning to be fun. I find doing challenging things that are hard, that there's a risk of failure, and sometimes there is failure. But the taking those risks and doing things that are challenging and then overcoming those challenges, I find that very enjoyable. So I work with various sized business leaders in, from small businesses to medium-sized businesses, a few employees to a few hundred employees, and in different levels, from the owner and founder of the company down to the lower level of the leadership. I'll even do training coaching. I do training coaching for teenagers. I volunteer my time with Rotary Club, and I'm working with Interact. We're actually setting up a conference coming up in April for Interact students across Long Island. I'm probably in the next couple of months, I'll be putting on a mental health activity or some kind of mental health initiative for veterans and open to just the general public, but really primarily focused on veterans. So a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, I put it like this: when you and I work together, it's like connecting your brain to my brain, right? I'm not replacing your brain with my brain. I'm not saying, okay, you need to do this. Try, this is a different strategy. That's bad. It's not any of that. I'm not saying it. I don't know anything better than anybody else. I have a few puzzle pieces that I know that work. And I know that if I can just give you some of those puzzle pieces and you build your puzzle with a couple of those pieces in it, the puzzle works better. It looks better. And so there's just some basic things that I know how to help people upgrade their performance. Things that sometimes they know it and they're not doing it, or sometimes they didn't even know it.
You also mentioned veterans. We also support veterans in the American Business Podcast. As a matter of fact, we actually had Pulse of War from Long Island, New York area. Actually, they also have national activities. They are nationally present. And
Nice.
We support Pulse of War as well. They work with veterans, support veterans. And we had a great conversation with them. They talk about how they help veterans, how they support them, as well as their services to support veterans as well. So that was really, really exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yes, absolutely. It's one of our missions, right? We are the voice of American business, and when we say business, we also welcome nonprofits, and that nonprofits that help veterans, they are more than welcome always to our podcast. Well, let's talk about leadership a little bit. When you work with different organizations and corporations, what type of leadership challenges did you observe when you're working with them?
So the number one challenge that I find that most leaders have is that they're stuck in this, whirlwind of activity that's going on every day. They're in the mix of their businesses, and two things. Number one is they don't give themselves enough time to get like an outside perspective. They're they don't really step back and look at their business because they're so wrapped up in, the phone call and the customer and the employee and HR and this issue and that issue and the competitors and, all kinds of things that are going on. So one of them is going to be to step back, and the other is that focus on continuous self-development. Great leaders, the best leaders, are constantly developing themselves. They're constantly taking courses, reading books, going to seminars, reading professional journals, getting mentored. They have, peer groups. They're continuously investing in their own personal growth and development. And a lot of leaders they feel like they don't have the time to do that. And so they leave that out. And if you're not constantly sharpening your tools get dull. And so people don't realize that. They think that, hey, whatever I learned 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago, it's still just as sharp today. And it's not. It's just not. It's just not the way that the world works. So it's that focus on continuous self-development. I recommend audiobooks to people all the time. We're going to talk about some as we go on the podcast today. But audiobooks, podcasts like this podcast here, peer groups, conferences, seminars, trade shows, anywhere that you can get input from outside sources is a great thing that a lot of people, unfortunately, they feel like they're too busy to do that.
You partially actually talk about this, but if we can expand on it, that'd be great. How would you define leadership, and what are the great leadership qualities that a good leader must have?
Yeah, absolutely. So at the fundamental level, if nobody follows you, you're not leading, right? So people will tell me, hey, Joe, I'm a good leader, but my team just won't follow. And I'm like, let me just tell you, I love you, but that doesn't make any sense. That's not how it works, right? The better you can develop your leadership skills, the easier it is for people to follow you. They're going to want to follow you. Everybody follows somebody. So your team will want to follow you better if you can upscale your leadership skills. So leadership is a skill, is the ability to influence people in the direction of some vision, right? So I see that I see that things can be better. The world can be better. The company can be better. Our society can be better. People can be better, right? So I see that, if you think about back with, Thomas Edison and like the light bulb and stuff, like, I see a world where people can work after dark because they're illuminated without fire. We're going to use electricity. And, so I see this world, and then now I need to influence people to go along with me on this journey, because one person, doing it alone doesn't usually make as big of an impact as we could if we do it together. So the ability to influence other people in the direction of a shared vision is leadership. If nobody's following, I'm sorry, you're not leading. Take one of my come to live to lead. It will help you. It will help you
Yes,
grow.
absolutely. That'll definitely be helpful for each professional. I have no doubt about it. And this conversation is important. It is because we are in business. We are business professionals, and we have a team to lead and manage. And there is a big difference, right? Being a manager and being a leader, these are different things. Am I right? What do you think?
There's a lot of overlap, right? So, so management and leadership are really overlapping. And if you're a terrible manager, you're probably not going to be a good leader. If you're a terrible leader, you're not going to be a good manager. There's a lot of overlap between them. So I see that management might be more with process. Leadership has to do with people. So you could be a manager. If you don't have any people, you're just, you could be managing processes or tasks. But once you start managing people, you really need better leadership, because those people are funny. They won't always do what they're supposed to do, what they know they're supposed to do. If they get upset, hurt, frustrated, annoyed, irritated, resentful, right? So people have emotions, and those emotions impact how they work, how they operate. And we want our team to be in a positive, energetic, emotional state. We don't want them to be irritated or aggravated, So even when, if I call someone and I can tell their day based upon how they're answering the phone, how they're talking to me on the phone, and I can pretty much tell how their leadership is, like how the leadership above them, how are they being treated by those leaders? based upon how that person's emotional state is when they're talking to me on the phone. So it's critical for leaders to develop themselves and their leadership skills, to lead their teams better, to create a better culture for their team. Culture is tremendous. I think Drucker was one who said that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if we're comparing leadership versus management, management might have this strategy. Leadership is going to create that culture.
I'd like to get your insights about AI. How do you see the impact of AI in business nowadays, and how could we relate it to leadership in the age of AI?
Yeah, right now, AI is not ready to take over positions of leadership, right? So I've asked AI some questions. I've put time, energy, and effort into creating really good prompts. And sometimes it gives me some good information. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, you just don't really get the whole human component, right? So we got to understand that AI is drawing from a mass of content that's out there. And if I look at the massive content that's out there, I'm like, yeah, a lot of people just don't really know what's right or what's good, what works, right? So if I can read 100 books and disagree with some of them because I think that they're not seeing the full picture, does AI have the ability to do the same thing, or does it look at the two different books and judge them both the same? I don't really know. Like I don't know who's programming on the back end to decide how does it do evaluative thought, right? So I don't think AI can do evaluated thought. I don't know that AI gets like a gut feeling that something's just not right. And that's really the human factor. So when it comes to good leadership principles, if you're leading people, I don't think people, the process could be defined better by AI. The people are not going to be led better by AI. If you know that your boss is an AI application, you're not really going to be invested in that. Even if it says all the right words, that it's not heartfelt. It's just programmed that way. So at the end of the day, people want to be led by people, and that's critical. So I don't think that's ever going to go away. The fact that people want to be led by people. Now, if your entire operation goes into robots and machines and it's, AI running AI, maybe things could be successful. I kind of envisioning like this, like the Terminator world kind of thing, machines making machines. I don't know if that's going to be, I don't know how close to reality that is or how close to happening that is. But for right now, you need to make sure anybody in leadership, please develop your HI, your human intelligence. Use your human intelligence. Supplement it with AI, artificial intelligence, or as some people like to call it, assistive intelligence, right? So there's definitely value in AI. It does some powerful things a lot quicker. Don't check your brain at the door. HI still trumps AI in my books anyway.
Well, we have more questions to cover with you, but if that's okay, we'll have a 3 minutes break and then we'll continue. Okay, we'll be right back. Thank you.
See you.
Support for the show comes from Yelp. I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for Business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp Business. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Becker. Anywhere Apps are designed to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Anywhere Apps are family of business software products. There are more than 40 products available for business process digitization and automation. Anywhere's apps are easy to use, they are standalone, and they are also ready to integrate with your ERP and accounting software systems. Today, I'd like to promote APS Anywhere, which is part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. APS Anywhere, designed for manufacturing companies. Whether you are a process manufacturing company, food and beverage, chemical, and more, or a discrete manufacturing company, automotive, aerospace, electronics, and more. APS stands for Advanced Planning and Scheduling. APS Anywhere is ready to streamline, digitize, and automate your production planning process. As you know, in manufacturing, production planning is not easy. There are always some bottlenecks and challenges. You need to put together your resources, 3M, man, machine, and material. APS Anywhere designed to streamline this process and automate it for you. It is a modern system. It runs on cloud. It also has deployment options for installation on your server or your private cloud environment. The system is scalable. It comes with unlimited number of production planning scenarios, meaning before you execute, you can see the financial implications and timing of your production planning on APS Anywhere. APS Anywhere comes with a very colorful and easy-to-use Gantt chart so that you can see your production planning on a colorful and easy-to-operate Gantt chart before you finalize your production planning purposes. The system is also integratable. It is ready to integrate your ERP system, MRP system, and other systems whenever there is a need. It is designed for manufacturing companies by manufacturing experts. It also comes with ready-made reports if you like to utilize. Furthermore, on APS Anywhere, you can also use demand forecasting function, meaning based on your past manufacturing and sales figures, the system can predict what will be your demand in the future. This will help you manage your supply chain in a more productive manner. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about APS Anywhere as well as Anywhere App software system in general. There is more. I have a direct line for you. You can send me a direct email, kevin@kerconsulting.com. kevin@kerconsulting.com, and I'll be happy to hear from you about Anywhere Apps, APS Anywhere, or any Anywhere Apps that is offered by Anywhere Apps by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Becker. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Brother. From large companies to small offices, Brother has powerful printers and all-in-ones for your growing business. Scan the QR code and find the best printers for your needs. When you scan the QR code, you can see the entire collection, business office equipment collection of Brother USA, and pick the one that you like. You'll find printers, labels, toners, all-in-ones, and other office equipment available on Brother website when you scan the QR code. Scan the QR code and start shopping for Brother office equipment today. Thank you for your support.
I can't hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. We are back in the American Business Podcast. I appreciate it. Well, let's continue our conversation if that's okay.
Great.
Well, do you have any role models, any mentors that you can share with us? Those mentors, and as well as when we think about mentors, your role models, they shape business perspective in general. Anyone that you can share with us, tell us about it, that'd be great.
Not to be cliche, but I would say that John Maxwell really inspires me. I've read a bunch of his books. I've listened to his books. I've gone to his seminars and training and stuff. So I'm part of the Maxwell leadership team. I guess if I wasn't if I didn't find him as a role model, I probably would never have joined the Maxwell leadership team. But the greatest thing that people say about John is that, when you meet him in real life, he's exactly the same as how he is on stage. It's not like a facade. And I've met him, we've had conversations, we've been together. Like, I don't know him. I can't say I know him well. But I feel like, I know him better than he knows me because I listen to his audiobooks all the time. All right. I've been in the audience. So values-based leadership, really doing the right thing. We know historically and through statistical studies that doing the right thing works better in the long run. If you want to run a good business doing the right stuff and you want it to make money and last a long time and have a positive impact on people, you pretty much have to do the right thing all the time. When people are looking, when they're not looking, when you think they might find out, when you think they won't find out, you still always do the right thing. When it works for you and it adds to the bottom line, or when it takes away from the bottom line, you still do the right thing. In the end, it works out.
If there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
A career lesson I learned the hard way. I think it's really just getting. Actually, it's not. Let me get more definitive with this, and it's you getting other people right. Not doing it alone. Doing it alone. So if I look back at my first seminar, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no support. I had no anybody. And like I said, it was me. It was a friend of mine, so I wasn't even alone. And then one other person. And if I just had a team of people, if I listened, if I researched, if I asked other people, if I got mentors, if I had a coach, if I had outside help, if I talked to people who had done it before, I would have learned what it took. I thought I'm gonna promote this event. People are gonna like it. They're gonna show up to it. And I was completely wrong with that. Now I know using a team, getting to know people, building relationships, and really it's leadership. If you're going to be working with other people, you need leadership, having a shared vision, inspiring others and influencing them to move in that right direction. That's really where progress is made.
My follow-up question will be, sometimes in business, there is hardship. Sometimes things are not going as planned. How to stay motivated and inspired in times of challenges and hardship in business?
Yeah. So things are regularly not going as planned. Like that's a normal part of business. If you think about it, I like to compare it to the stock market, right? If you ever look at a chart on the stock market graph, at any point in time, it's going up and down, right? Overall, there's a gradual trend increasing over time. Like we know that on average, let's say the S&P 500 grows about 10% a year, plus or minus. But on any given day, it could be up 20 points, 100 points, or it could be up a lot, down a lot, whatever the amount is. It might be confusing the S&P 500 with the Dow Jones Industrial Average as far as 100 points, whatever. But the point is, the stock market goes up and down on a day-to-day basis. And that's how business is, right? So clients come, clients go, sales are up, sales are down. People are showing up to work, people are not showing up to work. People are, there's conflict. There's, that's the day-to-day. And there's lots of struggle, there's lots of failure. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you better have an iron stomach. So it's not an easy task. It's a matter of grit. If you're really passionate about what you do. So Angela Duckworth wrote a book called Grit, and she defines grit as passionate perseverance. If you know that what you're doing is your mission in life, if you're good at it and you're making the world a better place and you're passionate about it, you truly love it, and you love your audience, you love the people who you're impacting, you're gonna have that perseverance to overcome those struggles. And if you understand ahead of time, hey, not everybody's gonna like me, it's not always gonna be easy. Even when I'm doing everything wonderfully, there are still gonna be people that hate me, right? So if you look at all the big change people in the world in history, most of them ended up getting assassinated, right? So we tend to, there's always going to be haters, and being okay with that is part of leadership. So I'm going to say part of that's courage, just the strength, tenacity, perseverance, passion, grit. If we can sum it up in one word, it's going to be grit. Grit through it.
Is there a book, a show, a movie, that help you shape your career perspective?
The biggest impact that I had on my life was Living Intentionally. It's a book by John Maxwell, or Intentional Living is the name of the book, by John Maxwell. And that book really changed my perspective on life. And that opened me up to the Maxwell leadership team, doing this as a career. I was in a different career when I read that book, and that career was a very helpful career. I was a high school educator. Shout out to all the high school teachers out there. Or elementary or any kind of teachers. Teaching, I say this, teaching is easy. Helping people to learn is very difficult, right? So educators are out there working day and night, holidays and weekends and summers. We tend to think, oh, it'd be nice to have those summers off. Yeah, educators don't have summers off. They're working on trying to make their craft better by the next year. So I was in a job teaching, and I thought, it really opened my eyes to my life purpose, which was really inspiring leadership, really helping equip leaders with the proper tools and strategies and mindsets to be better leaders, because everyone really deserves to have their leadership be effective, right? We deserve to be under good leadership, and we deserve to have good leadership skills.
Well, what are your biggest interests and passion outside of work?
So I see, like, my family is a passion of mine, but my kids are now at the age where they're on their own. I have one grandchild, and I don't get to spend a lot of time with him. So until I have more grandkids that I can spend more time with, my passion is really helping people. So I volunteer my time. I'm a member of the Gideon's International, a member of Rotary International. I do a lot of community service, a lot of outreach type work. And I really just enjoy working with people, but my sweet spot is helping people, developing those skills to become better versions of themselves. Through some unfortunate life tragedy of my own, having to dig myself out of a real bad emotional place, I've developed tools and strategies to help people with what I refer to as emotional fitness. So I do like to go around to young people, schools, or any group of young teenagers, and train them on emotional fitness skills. I train it with adults too. People that are 60 years old still tell me, why didn't I ever think about this before? So emotional fitness is tools and strategies that we would use to manage the day-to-day stresses and literal trauma that we're going to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Resilience, forgiveness, the ability to build relationships after being hurt, to just even think properly, or just to get over the fact, you still see people on the road with road rage, right? So the fact that person who cut you off on the road, or drove too slow or too fast, or did something that you didn't like, is still affecting you, or makes you swerve, or yell at the person, or give them the finger or something like that, right? That those are signs of a lower level of emotional fitness, right? So there's tools that can help you strengthen that. People talk to me about things that happened weeks ago, months ago, years ago, and they're still emotional about it. It's still affecting them, and that's not good.